Through these halls of a relatively unknown part of Liberty University, it features a key part of Liberty's history. This exhibit right here, all that everyone else sees are a bunch of old pictures and old camera equipment. But for those that pay attention, this exhibit tells a story. A story that is one like that of Liberty's, how humble church beginnings through prayer and determination can create something to train champions for Christ. On his first Sunday as the founding pastor of Thomas Road Baptist Church on June 17, 1956, Dr. Jerry Falwell preached to a congregation of 35 people gathered in Mountain View Elementary School. The next week, the service was held in a building formerly used as an old soft drink bottling company. That's when Falwell began his TV ministry with 30-minute daily live broadcasts of Thomas Road Baptist Church Presents, aired from the studios of the Lynchburg, Virginia ABC affiliate WLVA to the city of Lynchburg and nearby Campbell, Bedford, and Amherst counties.
This is where it all started. Right now I'm seated on a desk in an office, but it wasn't an office then. This is the northeast corner of the old Donald Duck Bottling Company building. They'd just gone bankrupt. Thomas Road Baptist Church with 35 members wanted a place to meet, so we purchased it. Lots of wonderful things happened in this building. But I must say that not in our fondest dreams did we know then, as Thomas Road Church was in its embryo, that God had such miraculous and wonderful things in store for us.
That TV broadcasting brought the idea to Dr. Falwell that he needed his own broadcast crew and equipment. He found it to be his new calling, as he was also a former student in the University of Lynchburg's journalism program.
I was a second-year student at Lynchburg College studying journalism. I became a Christian through hearing a radio broadcast.
However, local church on TV was incredibly rare in this era of television, but the local program was successful in building the church and soon developed into the church's own program, the long-running old-time gospel hour, filled with music, preaching, and a personal message from Falwell on salvation.
To me, it's very fulfilling because when Jerry Sr. was still alive, about the last 10 years of his life, I was pretty much the line producer and editor for the Old Time Gospel Hour. So I took the Sunday morning service and turned it into a 58:30 show every week. And that to me was very fulfilling, that Jerry would trust me with that. He mentioned several times that to me that he was really pleased that he didn't have to worry about the show, that I was able to, that he trusted me to do the show and do a good job with it and everything like that. So that to me that was really fulfilling.
It wasn't long before the show was picked up by affiliates across the country. In 1968, TRBC purchased black and white camera equipment and established the TRBC Broadcasting Department. With that advancement also came the ability for the church to broadcast live on its own. 2 years later, it upgraded to color. By 1971, the Old Time Gospel Hour was airing on over 300 stations, reaching every state in America. Also in 1971, specifically a Wednesday night service the same year, Falwell brought his congregation an idea, an evangelical school that would train young people into champions for Christ.
We're standing on the ground that for 3 years we have prayed that will one day be the site of the greatest Christian school in the world. We've prayed that way. We believe God gave us this mountain for that purpose.
From that night on, wherever he traveled or whomever he reached with his broadcasted messages, Falwell shared with the audiences the gospel first, followed by the news of this growing Christian university in Lynchburg. TRBC and the new Liberty Baptist College shared most of their equipment and workers. The same crew members who were running the Sunday morning broadcast will also operate for Liberty's chapel services during the week. In an ongoing endeavor to keep the school afloat financially, Falwell and the broadcast team had to combine prayer with prudence. As a passionate sports fan, especially when it came to football, Falwell knew that developing an athletics program and getting it airtime on television and radio would give the school even more exposure.
We're just 3 years in our football program, but I want to tell you ahead of time, we're scheduling tough teams as we do in basketball, baseball, because we plan, it's our plan to have our athletic program comparable to USC, to Notre Dame, to Alabama, to anybody in time. We've made the commitment, we're saying it out loud. There ought to be a place where saved athletes can play ball for the Lord and play against everybody.
We did it. Even got grass.
All right.
Liberty began airing play-by-play in the late 70s on WRVL Victory FM. Falwell soon purchased a production truck and cameras to get the Flames on television. In the 1990s, Falwell decided Liberty could produce its own games, work its own cameras, and create what would become the Liberty Flames Sports Network.
Well, it's changed a lot since the beginning, obviously, because we had no campus or anything back then. But the thing that hasn't changed is studio involvement, because when I came here, students were involved in the production of the Old Town Gospel Hour. So LBX, you getting students involved in production is kind of in the DNA of Liberty, because it's always been that way. Whenever students come, they call it an action-oriented curriculum, and which means you take what you learn in classroom and apply it to actually working in that situation. And so that case, has not really changed much over the years.
In June of 2014, Liberty University was looking to have their own weekly sports show, like how there are local and national ones with highlights and stories. That show's name reflected the show's mantra against the competition: Game On.
I started at Flame Central in October of 2019, and I can't believe it's been 5 years, but it's been the best 5 years of my life, and just having the opportunity to share stories and how Christ has impacted so many lives of, whether it's an athlete or a coach or a staff member here at Liberty and in the sports departments. It's just been really cool to highlight and give people hope and share their testimonies.
On November 19th, 2015, Liberty University was seen by football fans across America as Williams Stadium and its 19,000 strong debuted on ESPN News, where they took down rival and Big South #1 Coastal Carolina 24-21. That next year, Game On won its first Emmy. In 2018, Liberty Football moved into the FBS as an independent, and ESPN3 was pretty much the home of the Flames during that time, while failing to reach bowl eligibility, finishing with a 6-6 record.
Well, it's been a long time coming. I remember Jerry Sr. saying back in I've seen video of him saying in the 70s, said, "We're going to play Alabama," and stuff like that. And everybody's kind of, yeah, right. But over the years, it's just taken a long time, one step at a time. And so I think when we moved to the FBS, I think that was the biggest step in, I think, 2007. No, it wasn't 7. I forget what year it was. Anyway, when they made the announcement that we're moving to the FBS, that just put us in the big time. I did not expect to be going to a Fiesta Bowl this soon. That was, I really couldn't believe that was happening. But it was really, really exciting. And even though we got blown out a little, pretty much, it's still, that's a huge step. That was a huge, we were taking little steps. That was a bigger one.
That next year, Liberty took on 22nd ranked Syracuse in a Williams Stadium of 21,000 on ESPN Plus, giving the Flames a home on the new sports platform as the worldwide leader in sports moved on to streaming. On May 27, 2021, LFSN and Campus Production merged together into a new organization called the Liberty Broadcast Experience. It ushered in a new era of broadcasting with a closer relationship with ESPN, where Game On earned another 5 Emmys before becoming Flame Central, which still promoted the stories, the purpose, and the Flames.
It is so hard to decide what my favorite assignment has been in the last 5 years. I think it's such an honor to be able to share someone's testimony and share their story. So I can't just decide one feature that I've done. Arnold Onyango sticks out to me, though. He is a men's soccer player, and he came from Africa, and just what God has been able to do in his life and what Arnold is doing for others now has just been incredible. So I won an Emmy on his story. So maybe his feature sticks out a little bit more than others. But there's been countless stories that I've done and we've come across here in the last 5 years.
It also shows how remaining faithful to God's plan and investing into advancing the Great Commission has proved fruitful as only following Christ does in the Bible. Of course, the future remains unknown, but this institution and this broadcasting will continue to trust in the Lord.